rAVe Radio. With rants and raves, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is rants and raves with Gary K.
Good morning, everyone. This is Gary K, and I'm here with Sam Taylor, the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of Exertis Almo. As you probably know, unless you've been living under a rock, Exertis and Almo put together a giant deal where they combine the organizations. And Sam, you're running the U.S. organization. Tell us how that's going. Are you finished with Are they finished with the acquisition / merger, or what's going on?
Yeah, so the acquisition is complete as of April 1st, and we are the last thing left to do, which will happen on May 1st, is everybody will go on the same operating system, and that will happen May 1st. So we're together now. The teams have been put together, and a lot of great people on both sides, and excited about the future now. Well,
in addition to picking up some other lines, I mean, Almo Proiv, prior to this acquisition, had somewhere between 45 and 50 lines that were, part of the E4 experience and part of your portfolio. In addition to picking up some new lines, which I'm curious to know how many that is now, but also how big is the organization now?
Well, in terms of revenue, we're approximately $1 billion in revenue, and then in size of the not counting warehouse folks, we're about 250 people in our ProAV division, Exertis Almo now, and that's about 100 salespeople, 35 inside salespeople, we have 25 business development managers now, which is
wow.
Nobody has that kind of footprint.
Yeah, that's amazing. And they're supporting how many brands are you supporting now?
Well, it's still, I would say there were about 10 brands that came over from,
okay.
I mean, there were a lot of duplicity in the brands that we carried, but there were 10 that I will say would go into our core of what we were doing. There's some great audio brands that came over, and one or two display brands that were of interest to us as well.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to Melody Craig Mile a little bit later, and that, if you want to watch that video cast, that'll be up in the next couple of days, specifically about the E4 experience, which is the first week of May. It's the second in the series for 2022, and we're going to be in Chicago, and that is on May 3rd in Chicago. So if you want to register, go to e4experience.com. Sam, I think that's one of the flagship events that really put Almo Proiv on the map, and obviously it's great to see Exertis continue that as Exertis Almo. But I'm also curious, kind of you're in a really unique position, as you have been for many, many years. Not only are you, very savvy with regard to what goes on in the industry, but you're kind of in a glue position where your relationships expand from manufacturers all the way to the integrator side. Love to hear your perspective on how you think the 2022 market is doing and where we're headed and what we're likely to see between now and the end of the year.
Well, I mean, the market has been really good to us, Gary. We had a record month in March, all-time record for us, which is unusual. Normally our record months come in the fall. And so the business has been growing. January and February were strong, which are two of our historically slowest months, just because of the way the industry business cycle goes.
Yeah.
And so it's really been strong. And that's with still a lot of supply chain issues for some of our suppliers. So I think it would be crazy if everybody had inventory right now. The numbers that would be going up on the board, so to speak. So yeah, it's strong. The outlook going forward is strong.
So you think we're going to have a good summer?
Sales force, right? Yes, absolutely.
And so the integrators need to kind of make sure they're pivoting between manufacturers based on what's available at any moment in time. I guess that'd be one of your pieces of advice.
Well, yeah, we encourage our integrators to register their projects early with the manufacturer so they can get in line and be ready. And we've we've bulked up our inventory substantially, and been able to, for the most part, keep people supplied throughout this. There have been a few times when we've been out of a SKU from a particular manufacturer or whatever, but we've definitely been able to pretty much keep our integrators running.
Well, you made a risky but then paid off investment in a lot of gear in the fall to make sure that you had equipment and inventory, because I knew that you saw you and I talked about this last time we had a video cast. You saw the supply chain issue dragging on longer than what a lot of manufacturers, a lot of people in the industry thought. That gamble obviously paid off, because you wouldn't have those record months had you not had that inventory. Are you continuing to buy in like that because you think that and I guess my big question is, how long do you think the supply chain issue will continue?
Well, I mean, I think it's going to start to ease up in the fall a bit, but I think it's still going to be here with us through the summer. And I also think that I am hearing from some manufacturers that, hey, we're not going to be great. They'll say, don't tell anybody, but we're not going to be out of the hole until early next year. So there's still some manufacturers that are really constrained, and they're going to, their supply chain is going to take them into early next year before they are, back up to 100%.
Well,
I think in some ways, though, Gary, it's helped smooth the curve, if you will. The supply chain has helped the growth be moderated. Otherwise, we would have had a really big, crazy 3 or 4 or 5 months, and then we'd have to see what was going to be like after that. So, but it's been strong and sustained and growing this past 6 months.
Well, 5, 6, 7 years ago, you saw the value of adding services as part of your core offering. I'm wondering, I don't know if you're willing to tell us this, but I'm wondering what percentage of your sales are you seeing in services, or can you at least give us a growth number? Because it seems to me that if I were an integrator, I'd want to be offering more services. I have a lot more control over that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's interesting. So our services grew strongly, but the past couple months it's been a little flat, and that's because of there's a shortage of labor too out there.
That's a good point.
We're working on something right now that's going to be really exciting. I'm going to tease you a little bit. You and I haven't even talked about it, but something that I hope to be announcing in May that's going to really change the way labor is done in ProAV. So close to the finish line on that, and we'll let you know as soon as we cross that. But that will dramatically increase our service revenue.
Okay, good.
And dramatically help our integrators get labor and get qualified labor.
Good. That's a good tease. We'll make sure we schedule another video broadcast for that. So you were unable to attend the E4 in California. It was a great show, and it was interesting. One thing I noticed about it, which was somewhat expected but not as expected, was how long people spent talking to each other. Was substantially longer than any other E4 I remember. It even more than at Infocom last October, and I think that shows that a lot of what we're providing here as a service with an E4 is the experience of relationships and networking, even over the product. Now, you did have some cool products, and there's going to be one cool product that has not been shown in a long time that's going to be really cool that you're going to want to come see. I don't want to blow the secret because I want Melody to be able to tell you, but I think that what's interesting is there's a lot more based on relationships now. And it almost reminds me of when I got in the industry 30 years ago. It was all based on relationships. Have you noticed that yourself?
Oh yeah, I mean, our sales folks are back out on the road, and their customers are really happy to see them, and there's definitely, people were cocooned for 2 years, and now it's the opposite. People want to see people. They want people to visit them. They want to go to dinner. They want to learn about products. I mean, it's just it, and I think we're really going to see a great attendance in Chicago, and our vendor feedback from Anaheim was they loved it. they loved the conversations, the interactions that they were getting. It wasn't people just walking around looking for tchotchkes. It was, meaningful people that wanted to learn about the latest and greatest from the vendors that we, partner with.
One thing we're going to do that's kind of cool in Chicago is the keynote's actually going to be in the theater. I'm excited about that because I've been fortunate to be the keynote speaker. I've never done a keynote in a theater like a Hollywood, or I should say Broadway style theater. In fact, they actually have Broadway plays, and I think there's actually one playing. So I'm actually going to be delivering from the stage of the set, which will be kind of, I got to integrate that into my thing. But you got to go to e4experience.com. If you're in Chicago, Minneapolis, anywhere in that area, you should definitely go sign up, because you're going to see 60 companies that are going to show new products, and a lot of these products integrators haven't seen, right? They haven't gone to shows, and a lot of these brands aren't coming yet to the integrator locations. So you should definitely sign up. Now I have one question. This is a crazy question, Sam. What one thing are you excited to do without going back to real life things? Like, what's one thing that you just can't get rid of? You can't wait to get rid of, whether it's an app on your phone or something that you can't wait to get away from now that we're back. It's going to be back in person.
It's a mask on an airplane. I can't wait to board an airplane and have a 5-hour flight. Not I'm looking forward to that, but having a 5-hour flight without a mask. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's
a good answer. I would tend to concur, although I'm a germaphobe, so the mask thing doesn't bother me as much. But yeah, there's a lot of things like that is kind of irritating. I'm also excited to get away from. I can't remember the last time I wasn't on a flight where there was some sort of mask tug of war between the flight attendants and some person on the flight. It just seems like that has been a big issue over the pandemic. Well, look, I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks in Chicago. Again, e4experience.com. What is the URL now? I mean, I know I went there just early this morning. I saw that almoproiv.com is still working. I assume you're going to switch to Exertis Almo at some point in time, or is that already working now?
That'll be working. I think May 1st is when it'll be live. But yeah, that'll be the new URL at some point.
Yeah. So right now you can go to almoproiv.com. We've been talking to Sam Taylor, Executive Vice President and COO of Exertis Almo, which is basically Sam's runs the U.S. operation, which is about $1 billion. Congratulations, Sam, on everything. And I appreciate you joining me today.
Well, thank you, Gary. It was good seeing you, and look forward to seeing you in Chicago.
I will be there. I will definitely be there. I'll be coming straight from my daughter's graduation in California, straight into Chicago. Looking forward to that. And of course, e4experience.com. This is Gary Kay. Thanks for watching this video cast, and don't forget to register.
With rants and raves, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is rants and raves with Gary.